What's going on, everybody? I hope you are doing well this Thursday afternoon. It's been pretty fun, not gonna lie. These past couple of days, I've been enjoying the long position that I was in. I took profit not too long ago. I believe it was like at 5 point some percent. I think it was like 5.2, 5.1 or something like that. But yeah, man. Ugh. This pump was rather gratifying, not gonna lie. I was watching a bunch of content online and on social media, how like, oh my god, price line broke, we're going down, which is fine. Like it's fundamentally true, right? But um, it weakened this price line for sure. It did. That happened, yes. But at the same time, I guess people forget that like this is no longer a $1 trillion market. You know what I mean? Like, it's like 100 billion plus. But yeah, there's nefarious actors out there that have acquired a lot of Bitcoin. Look, I like crypto, I love Bitcoin and everything like that, but it's not as decentralized as it's marketed. Okay, let's be real. Um, there's just a Okay, just for perspective, 90%, I believe it's 91 or 92% of all Bitcoin has already been mined. Okay, so you can look at on-chain metrics and look at the holder. There are some crazy whales. Okay, you think you're a badass because you have like, 5 Bitcoin or whatever, 10 Bitcoin. Nah, there's like people that have thousands of Bitcoin. Okay, so yeah, if they sell it, it's gonna make a dent in the price. Um, but going back to it, the reason why I wasn't so concerned was because going back to the 1 minute chart, I have an indicator that shows whale manipulation, and it's described through these yellow X's right here. So when I saw these yellow X's on the chart, I thought to myself, oh, okay, this is complete manipulation. Well, manipulation is a strong word. I would just say that um, obviously they're selling. There's buyers and sellers. The people who are trying to manipulate the price are buying and selling. It's a free market. Let's get real here. This is one of the freest markets because it's so transparent if you really think about it. Now there's Monero, there's Zcash that are transparent or not as transparent. They're kind of like they don't mark their transactions and stuff like that. So yes, it's not fully transparent. But I mean you can't look at the spreadsheets of Google. You know what I mean? You can't you as an individual like necessarily can't go through all of that documentation like in real time. Okay, they disclose obviously the accountants they of those Fortune 500 companies will eventually disclose their documents, but it's not like on a daily 24/7 basis. No, you have to wait for it. Okay, and also like look. Accountants can fudge the numbers. Let's be real here. Okay, they can turn a credit into a debit or whatever. So like, you can fuck with the balance sheet to make things look pretty, okay? I mean, just look at CPI. CPI is one of the most doctored charts out there, and it looks like crap right now, okay? So anyway, blockchain's the future. I'm gonna move on. Okay, so I'm gonna go to price action. I'm gonna stop ranting here. I'm pretty sure if you're watching this, you probably are aware of the CPI data. 9.1% inflation. Big, big, big L for the United States. And big L for just the dollar in general. I feel like the dollar hegemony is slowly waning. A lot of hedge fund managers, a lot of noobs into the crypto market are trading crypto like tech stocks, which is completely asinine, in my opinion. So hedge funds, they were de-risking, selling stocks, selling commodities, selling crypto. But in actuality, what's going to save individuals from these inflation events is actually transparent open ledgers. Okay. So transparent open ledgers is the whole basis of blockchain technology. Now, there are, like I said before, there is Zcash, there's Monero, there's like, these black coins that just don't track transactions like Ethereum does or Bitcoin does, right? So there are these like pseudo anonymous coins, etc., etc. But that's like really out there and very niche. There is a crypto niche for that, but I'm talking about the stuff that's like getting adopted by nation states, okay, in Bitcoin. So anyway, going back to the charts, price broke out of this descending channel here. Um, it was choppy and there was a lot of manipulation. Look at this like bear god candle here. Um, my goodness, that was such a fake out. Um, but yeah, it actually did back test this zone as support, which further validates this box here. But if you really go back, there was a lot of nefarious stuff happening around here too. So here we had some and whales know that this is a key level right here at it's a support and resistance level. So yeah, you even see a yellow X around here. So there's some whales that really like to mess with people around this zone. So there was some history to that here as well, right? And yeah, in a more less intense way, bears, whale bears, if you will, were trying to mess with people at around this zone as well. Here, let me go to the one. It wasn't directly on the zone, but yeah, as you can see, there are some yellow X's on the chart here. That kind of connotes that this is a pivot. This is a key point for the bulls and bears, and essentially this affects sentiment on a monthly time frame. That particular price zone. So that's why there's a lot of bulls and bears fighting for supremacy at this point of support and resistance levels. But all right, so I'm looking at some really interesting things currently on the 1 hour chart. So we are getting consistent higher lows and higher highs. Phenomenal. Now, the EMAs, from my perspective on my chart, have flipped bullish, meaning from resistance to now support. Currently, I don't see any of my support and resistance indicator, these yellow lines. I don't see a top yellow line just yet, so I do think that this will eventually continue upward in price. Um, Currently, I do expect some consolidation. If you look at this little red dot right here, this is the parabolic SAR indicator. That just means that bulls were successful in ending bullish momentum. So we're going to see a little bit of consolidation, in my opinion, and hopefully see a higher low instance. Now, what can invalidate that? I'm going to make a trend line right here. Okay, so price has respected this new hourly supply line right here. So I would eventually expect price to come down to this level. Now, if it does break below it with an hourly candle close confirmation, yeah, I would sell straight up. Anyway, um, let's see. Not financial advice, by the way. That's just kind of like I like to talk my logic openly, right? This isn't for anyone to follow. I have been wrong in the past, I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm not some Nostradamus kind of guy. Uh, but yeah, I have been wrong before, so do not listen to me. But anyway, in regards to like everything. But I just want this to be an exercise in like understanding how charts really work. But anyway, so going back to it, I'm noticing this channel right here that's kind of developing. Now, not too sure if this is a rising channel here or a bear flag, because this has some semblances of a bear flag. Now, they both operate in different manners. A bear flag is way more destructive from a price perspective, and channels usually when they break, they just meet to the bottom, and they even sometimes stop and create higher lows. So completely different scenarios at this time. Now, given that price has flipped well, I wouldn't necessarily legitly flip the 100 EMA. I would like to see, not gonna lie, I would like to see price come down a little bit more and then validate this support a little bit more. But I would like to see another lower high. That's kind of asking for a lot since like this channel has is developed a little bit, but I think that would just be due diligence in regards to the future of what's really happening. Now let me get my indicators going. As you can see, we do have a sell signal and some bearish divergence. That kind of sucks, not official. Um, let me show you what bearish divergence really kind of looks like here. Okay, a bearish divergence just means that price is deviating from what the indicators are saying. Whoops, I meant to make that red. Okay, so as you can see, the indicator has a momentum shift downward while price is actually continuing to the upside. Now, as you can see, and I mentioned this in the last video, was price was just collecting bullish divergences before the ultimate pop. As you can see in this particular instance, that there was 3 real bullish divergences. You could argue 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there was like 4 divergences until price actually respected them and then initiated the pump to the upside. So that could very well happen here. So just because we're seeing divergences now doesn't mean that the reversal is happening. Frankly, from the TSI perspective, we are not in oversold territory. So I do expect price to kind of continue on a little bit more, not as intense as like these green candles that we saw here, here, and here, which was whoops, daisy, right there, here, here, and here. But I do expect gradual progression to the upside until, I don't know, maybe there is some main resistance is at 21.6, but there is a resistance line at 21.24, so I'd keep my eye on those particular prices at this time. Now, keep in mind, EMA's just turned bullish, so I wouldn't necessarily expect fireworks to the downside at this time, but as you can see, bears are trying their hardest to flip this trend, okay? So it is chop city right now. Entries are very important. So if you are trying to long, hypothetically, if you are trying to long in this instance, what would you do? As I said before in the past, I would check the 4-hour. I would look at trend, okay? So money flow is to the downside, but momentum is to the upside, okay? So we're kind of like in this consolidation phase. So on the 4-hour, the 9 EMA has not been tagged in a while. So from a 4-hour perspective, I would expect it just, this is conjecture, right? But I would kind of like really look for a bounce here at the 4-hour. Okay, I have that marked. And then I'd go to the 15-minute and I'd look at where the 15-minute is at. So usually I like to wait for trigger waves, if you will. So a wave that is smaller than the previous one, right? So for example, if this continues to curve like that, and there is like a green dot or whatever, I would classify a candle close confirmation, by the way. I would classify that as a trigger wave. Okay, so I would look for longs in that instance. Now, because I know trend, so therefore I'm able to, the trend is your friend. Obviously, from the 15-minute perspective, we are kind of on the precipice of a 9 EMA cross down, something similar to this situation right here. Actually, I'm going to make that red because, yeah, those downward crosses are bearish, just as those upward crosses are bullish, which happened right here. Okay, now you can apply these strategies onto smaller time frames to scalp, but if you're not experienced in scalp, like if you're just not experienced in trading in general, I would stay to the higher time frames. I know it's nerve-wracking, but it's definitely safer and it takes less time to really manage that stuff, because on the 4-hour chart you could just like set alerts. You could just set an alert. You can on TradingView, right? You could just right click, add alert, and then you just, do whatever you need to do. Like if price passes a certain point, if a line, and you can even right click on lines, and you can add alert. You can add an alert when you're crossing, you know, all that kind of stuff. So TradingView makes life a lot easier in regards to trading. I'll be freaking honest with you. I've worked with like decentralized trading tools. It's just not worth it. Like this one, in my opinion, is top of the line. Anyway, um, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I'm kind of concerned on the lower term time frames of a cross down. I do expect a cross down at some point here, given that momentum is to the downside. Um, I would even argue 37 minute. Yeah, 37 minute is actually confirming divergences here. Yeah, so no fresh longs for me at this point. Now, I don't expect trend to break all of a sudden. Usually it's on the fourth touch that things poop starts hitting the fan. So this is just conjecture, just theory, not like gonna happen. This is just like this is a mental masturbation, if you will. Okay. All right. So gonna go here, bounce, rejection, and that's when I would expect a break. If it is a bear flag, if it is a rising channel. Okay. Now, if it's a rising channel, this thing could go on even longer. Bear flags are more immediate. Channels, just like this one, this channel took days. I didn't even respect it as a channel at first. I thought it was going to be like some form of like falling wedge right here. I thought it was going to be something like that for like the longest time. And you could argue that it kind of was. It was a falling wedge that like broke to the downside. You could argue that case because when it broke down, it went parabolic. But frankly, you would have had to be guessing, which I was doing, and that's on tape. Like you would have to be guessing um, the really the pivot point, and there was multiple touch points here, multiple touch points here that could validate a falling wedge, but it just kept on like stringing along, and really at the end of the day, you could have just created a channel, which there is a channel tool, right? This thing, and just rode it along that way, and so. Yeah, the descending channel made the most sense. But anyway, these channels, they can last for a very, very long time. They can last days. So are we in a new rising channel? Which rising channels are bearish. They do break to the downside and they usually find resolution to the top. I'm sorry, to the bottom of it. Now this channel still has a shot to fulfill its oath, if you will, and come back to the top here at 21.8. Now, would that make a double top? That's what I'm kind of curious about. But honestly, this has been my base case for like the past 2 weeks now. I mean, well, actually, I don't even know. Well, I don't even know. Days are meshing. Since like mid-July, that I thought that we were in this particular uh, ascending triangle situation, which it's kind of looking like it's playing out. Now, if this is true and this is a rising channel and it, fulfills its duty and goes back to the upside, then yeah, I would expect something more so on the lines like, okay, we're coming back up, then we're, going to continue on to this triangle, this ascending triangle, and either break to the downside or break to the upside, honestly. Even if we break to the upside, I still have my feelings that we're eventually going to reach these zones, but this would just be a relief rally to eventually retest this zone up top here as resistance at basically 28K. Because once we broke down here, we never really back tested this as support, so that's why I am a little bit macro bullish. Like, so I do think we are still in a bear market, but we can have a pretty epic bull run. We can have a bull run is that's a stretch. We can have a rally. We can have a pretty substantial rally back up to these particular prices, um, which would go all the way up to like 35%, 36%. That's not bad at all. And if you're trading altcoins, that's like, you could like 2x your money. You could, 3x your money like that. But we need confirmation before we ape into any moves. Before we ape, we have to have confirmations. Okay, you can't just go in willy-nilly. That's what I did in the beginning. My first year of trading, like I wasn't even like considering this shit. I was like, really just kind of like gambling with my money. Oh my God. Thank goodness, like I got out of that. That was stupid. But it takes time, like it really it is a skill, like going through all this stuff. So I mean, don't beat yourself up if like you can't like figure out the ins and outs of like certain trends or patterns and all that kind of stuff. It does take time. Like it is it's an acquired skill. But anywho, I'm gonna go back to the other indicators on the 1 hour. Let's go. Okay, so to further validate my consolidation thesis, the TSI is curling to the downside, and it says here on the TSI, price will continue falling if it continues below 20.516. Okay, also here on the RSI, it briefly tagged the bullish control zone and it got rejected. Okay, so right now, if you can see, the slow moving average is literally like horizontal almost, like damn near horizontal. So we're kind of like in a consolidation phase at this time. But we still have hope in trend. So as you can see, we're kind of going a little parabolic here, ever so slightly. Actually, a parabola I think would make more sense in this case. Yeah, we did kind of break it, but you could also argue that this is still valid. Yeah, we still have a general upward trend here. If you want to get super anal with it, you could argue that we have already broken this parabola. But with the RSI on, especially on the 1 hour, it's super staticky, so I like to give it some room to breathe. So that's why I'm still kind of in the hopes that we're still heading to the upside, because at the end of the day, higher low, higher high. So the trend is your friend until the end. So this could theoretically come back down, and as long as it prints above the bearish control zone, it's still a go in regards to this upward trend. Also on the TMA, it hasn't crossed above the oversold zone, so that's why I do expect price to kind of continue a little bit more upward before there's an ultimate break of the channel or the bearish flag. Okay, so let me go to the 4 hour. Um, So the 4 hour here I think is super pivotal because we did cross. We have a confirmed cross of the 9 EMA cross the 21 EMA on the 4 hour, which is huge. So now price is currently getting rejected off of the 100 EMA, but eventually I would hope and frankly expect to see price come down maybe like 1.5% eventually and kind of tag that 9 EMA to confirm it as support. Now if it breaks through, if you have a candle, if you have 4 hour candle 4 hour candle close below the 9 EMA, then that just means the bears are just too dominant at this time, and then most likely we'll see a re-establishment of bearish trend, which would be a break to this downside. And yeah, so very pivotal bounce in the near future here on the 4 hour has yet to occur. Okay, yeah, let me go to these indicators. Wow, okay, this is actually pretty good here. The TSI is crossing the 50, so I mean, yeah, usually this is a very good sign for movement to the upside. We have yet to see any real fake out. This is the fake out zone, keep in mind, okay, and I could show you. Yeah, see this right here? This is a fake out zone, so just because it's here doesn't mean it's, smooth sailing. This is Chop City right here. So, whoops, let me pull this over. Okay. So, I mean, theoretically, it could, do a cross, kind of consolidate. Now, this slow moving average is it's turned blue. It's been blue for days now. This, as long as this doesn't cross, as long as the slow moving average doesn't cross the fast move, as long as the fast moving average doesn't cross the slow moving average, we're still a go in regards to bull momentum. But I just wanted to address that there are some bearish signs already developing, okay, which is the rising channel and the bear flag, or bear flag opportunities, right? We haven't seen any consensus at this point, but it's kind of leading into either or at this time. Momentum is to the upside on the 4 hour. Um, what I like with money flow is this. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. There you go. Yeah, is this trend. I like that a lot. And also, if you look at this, even from the last dump, you're getting continued weakness from the bears. I do like that. But keep in mind that momentum is kind of already past the zero line. We're kind of in the middle of a pump. So just keep that in mind. Um, yeah. And this ultimately could roll over and create a lower hill. And if that's what I'm kind of worried about, to be honest, is what could potentially happen is a lower low, and that's a bearish trigger wave. That is a bearish trigger wave, okay? So that would validate, momentum going to the downside, and that would lead to pretty significant bear action. So, we're kind of seeing momentum come up, but how far will it go? That's kind of where my mind is at, and that's why it's best to always, just mitigate your risk. So what am I seeing here? So the overall macro bear trend did break out a couple days ago. We did kind of discuss about that. It back tested as support once again. So the slow moving average actually is looking pretty good. We do have this new trend line. Well, you could argue, yeah. Yeah, we do kind of have like a new trend line here to the upside, and the slow moving average is validating. So as long as the fast moving average is above and respecting the slow moving average as support, then yeah, it's a go. Also, RSI did cross the 50 line, so that's usually a sign of bearish weakness, because the RSI left the bearish control zone. It not only left it, back tested it, and now it's coming out. So bears are no longer in control. It's actually bulls at this time that are in control. Now, doesn't mean that consolidation doesn't happen. I've already stated that from my perspective, not financial advice, I do expect a 1.5% dip on Bitcoin before it ultimately does continue to the upside and creates a little higher highs. Um, but that's my invalidation point, the 4-hour 9 EMA. Alrighty, so I like the slow moving average on the double MACD. There is this bowling situation happening with the red line. I like that a lot. That looks good. Yeah, that indicates further continuation. Also, the TSI is validating the statements that I've said. So at 19.855, yeah, we can expect continuation to the upside. The MACD here is still printing bullish bars, and it's heading to the zero line. So the zero line on the MACD is in a notorious fake out zone. So there's going to be crazy volatility. Volatility enhances when this gets closer to this, okay? Doesn't mean that it won't cross it, because when this MACD crosses it, it's just easier for the bulls to push price to the upside. But yeah, it's a grind before that ever happens. As you can see here, it did cross, but these 4 bars, 12 hours of price action, and even more. This is basically like a day of limbo before it completely initiated the next wave of pumpage. So yeah, something to consider. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you so much for continue watching my videos. Yeah, I'm new to like the YouTube space. I understand my mic isn't the best, so I will be upgrading that at some point in time. But yeah, as far as everything, I appreciate, the support. I appreciate the DMs and stuff that you guys been giving me via Facebook Messenger and stuff. Like also like the occasional comment here and there. I understand this is a new channel and stuff like that, but I do intend to do these like I'm gonna try to do a daily basis, I promise. The weekends, I'm not too sure if I can do daily on that, but I do intend to be consistent with this stuff just so I can like really um, help individuals with like their analysis or maybe kind of giving them a fresh viewpoint regarding like just technical analysis, logic, and breakdown, just a first principles perspective. But anyway, thank you very much once again. If you haven't liked, please like the video. Also, please share with your friends or comment below and let me know like what other cryptos you'd like me to check out and stuff like that, or maybe even stocks. I mean, this stuff does transition between equities, commodities, and crypto. So, I mean, I'm happy to like look at other things for you guys. But yeah, I'm gonna sign off. Have a great rest of the night and take care. Bye.